So, what's the difference between keto and low carb? Both of these are two very, very common lifestyles of today, common diets, if you will. And there's always a lot of just question and maybe even some confusion around what the difference is between keto and low carb. So, I'm going to take a few minutes and just kind of lay out what the differences are between the two. Okay, so let's start with low carb. So, a low carb diet, there's usually a recommendation of about 20 to 57 grams of carbs that you will consume in your day. Now, I know some people are counters and they like to track it down to the T. They're tracking calories, they're tracking their carbs down to a T. But if you're someone who isn't that much of a tracker and you're just looking for kind of a standard guideline to follow to be considered in the realm of low carb, I have a 5 white rule that I find that is really super helpful for most people. And that is to avoid the 5 whites. And those are bread, rice, pasta, potato, and sugar. Those are the things that you primarily want to stay away from when you're trying to do low carb. Now, it's important to note that there are vegetables that contain higher carbs, and those are the ones that you kind of want to stay away from. So you want to stay more close to your green leafy vegetables. Those are going to contain less carbs than maybe something like corn or vegetables like that. So I do have a low carb vegetable list that you can access on my website, which is flketo.com. So you can find that there and you can reference that so that you have an idea of what those low carb vegetables are, as well as some low carb snack lists and things like that. Now, what is keto? What's the difference in keto? So keto is more of a high fat, low carb, moderate protein diet. Usually the keto standards are you're going to do about 70 to 80% fats, 5 to 10% carbs, and 10 to 20% protein. So usually the carb intake for keto is going to be around 20 to 50 grams, the highest being 50 and the lowest being 20, and that is in your whole day. So you're going to be eating your high healthy fats, clean fats, not like a whole pack of bacon, but you're going to be using your MCT oil or your coconut oil, your grass-fed butter, your grass-fed meats, and then maybe consuming some of your leafy vegetables and things like that. There are some nuts that are preferred in the keto lifestyle. You can also access some keto food lists, again, on my website, which is flketo.com. And that will help kind of steer you in the right direction of what the foods are that you're going to be eating if you're following keto. Now, just to give you a point of reference, the standard American dietary guidelines, which are, I'm just going to say it, they're out of whack. Okay. They recommend that carbohydrates make up a large part of your daily consumption, your daily food consumption. So if you're following the standard American diet, you're looking at somewhere between 225 to 325 grams of carbohydrates per day. So that is a lot more than you would intake when you're in a low carb or a keto lifestyle. I know there's a lot of controversy out there around carbohydrates. And while I think carbohydrates are a necessary fuel source in some cases, there are many, many people that live a ketogenic lifestyle and really don't consume over the 20 to 50 grams of carbs per day. And they still live in a very, very healthy lifestyle and healthy state. So one of my main things is that there's not one perfect diet or lifestyle for everyone. Okay. Everyone is different. Each individual is made up differently, and you have to figure out what the best lifestyle and the way of eating is for you. So if you're going to follow keto, I do recommend using a tracking app and being aware of what the best foods are for you to consume, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to follow keto and still consume a high number of carbohydrates and sugar. That could be a recipe for disaster. So if you're doing keto, commit to keto and stay the course, and at least do this for, let's say, a 4 to 6 week period so that you can get into that therapeutic range of ketosis. Of course, you can use a tool like Keto Nat, which is going to guarantee that you're in ketosis and help you with these dietary changes. And if you're doing low carb, then just be aware. Again, use the 5 white rule, stay away from those things, and that's going to help you stay on track with your low carb diet. So I hope that helps maybe spread some insight on what the difference is between low carb and keto. Main difference being with keto, you're going to really be consuming a much higher fat intake than if you were just doing low carb. So again, you can reference my website, which is flketo.com. There are some helpful food lists, snack lists, shopping lists, as well as a very thorough explanation of what keto is. If I can help at all, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm Cameron Moss, and I wish you the absolute best in your journey.